You should be able to compute the length of horizontal and vertical line segments in the coordinate plane by counting the number of units, number of units between the points and using absolute value. So those are two things that you can do to find distance between 2 points. Let's get started with the lesson. So our opening exercise here is based on 4 friends touring on motorcycles. They come to an intersection of 2 roads. The roads they are on are continue straight, and the other is perpendicular. The sign at the intersection shows the distance to several towns. Draw a map or diagram using of the roads and use it and the information on the sign to answer the following questions. So we want to, I'm going to go ahead and first, I'm going to draw a diagram, kind of like a graph, just to model direction. So if I know here that Albertsville is 8 miles left, then I know Albertsville is going to be this way. I'm going to put an A for Albertsville. I know that Blossville is 3 miles above, so that means it's up here somewhere. So I'm going to put 3 plus and then B for Blossville. I'm going to, Cheyenne is 12 miles above. So again, I'm going to put another arrow pointing up here, put plus 12 for Cheyenne. And then Dewey Falls is 6 to the right. So I'm putting 6 here, plus 6, and Dewey Falls. Okay, so that's our little diagram. Now it says, what is the distance between Albertsville and Dewey Falls? Well, we know that Albertsville is -8 because it's to the left, and we know that Dewey Falls is +6. So really, you can find the absolute values of these 2 distances, which is 8 and 6. And to find the distance between Albertsville and Dewey Falls, since they're on opposite sides of the y-axis, one is this way and one is this way, you would add to get their total distance, which gives you 14. Okay. What is the distance between Blossville and Cheyenne? Now, Blossville is here and Cheyenne is here, and they're both above the x-axis, which is here. So that means we wouldn't add to get their distances. We would first need to find the absolute value of each one of them, which is going to be the same. So Blossville is 3 and Cheyenne is 12. So those absolute values will remain those. Now, to get the distance between them, we are going to subtract 12 minus 3 because they're on the same side of the x-axis, which give us 9. So on the coordinate plane, what represents the intersection of the 2 roads? The intersection of the 2 roads is right here at 0, 0, and that is the origin. Okay, so I want you to make a little note about this. So right here, I'm going to draw a little arrow pointing down here and put a star, and I'm going to say that since these are on opposite sides of intersection. What I mean by that is this right here, this is here and this is here. Or we can say 0. We add to find distance. Now I'm going to put another arrow from here going down here, and I'm going to put a little star, and on this I'm going to say since these are both above 0 on the same side of intersection, comma, you subtract the amounts. Okay, so those are 2 statements that you're going to need to come back to often. All right, let's take a look at the distance. Now we want to find the distance between -4.0 and 5, 0. Now if you notice, the y coordinates are the same, so we're not going to do anything with those. Those you can't do anything with. We're going to find the distance between -4 and 5. Now if these 2 that are different have opposite values, so meaning this is a negative and that's a positive, that means they're on opposite sides of 0, which means you would add to find their distance. Now you don't add -4, you add the absolute value of -4, and you add the absolute value of 5, which gives you a distance of 9. Okay, now what do the ordered pairs up here have in common, and what does that mean about their location? These ordered pairs both have a 0, both y coordinates are 0. So both points are on the x-axis. If they have zeros as y coordinates, then they are on the x-axis. So if I was to plot -4, 0, I would go from 0 over -4, and I wouldn't go up or down any, so the dot would be right here at x, and that's what that's saying. How did we find the distance between two numbers on the number line? So we calculate absolute value and add values, since they are on opposite sides of 0. That is the key, okay? So we're gonna skip over this one. I'm gonna have you go to the back of this page, and we're gonna go to example 2. And it says here, make sure you're always looking for the coordinates that are different. So you want to make sure when you're looking at two ordered pairs, you're looking for the ones that are different. So you want to look for the same coordinate, so y and y, or x and x, but make sure the ones that are different. So if you look here, we want to look at this coordinate, the y, and this y. So if you look now, these are both negative, so that means they're going to be on the same side of 0. So -6, absolute value is 6, and -11, absolute value is 11. Now, because they are on the same side of 0, we would have to think about doing something different with them. So let's go ahead and answer this question. What do the ordered pairs of the endpoints have in common, and what does this mean about this line segment location? So we're going to say, since the points are on the same side of 0, you would subtract to find the distance. And the reason is because there isn't as much distance between them because they are on the same side. So we wouldn't need to add. So we're going to take their absolute values, and always make sure you put the larger number first when you're subtracting, and the distance between them is going to be 5. Okay, because they are both negatives, they're both on the same side of 0, so we would subtract to find their distance. All right, let's take a look at the next one. So again, we want to be careful here. Identify your x coordinates. Now your x coordinates are exactly the same, so you cannot use those to find your distance. You need to look at the coordinates that are different. So if you look here, we have a 3 as a y and a -5 as a y. All right, so we want to find the distance between them. Now this is a positive and that's a negative, so therefore they lie on opposite sides of 0. So what do the endpoints, which are represented by ordered pairs, have in common? So we need to say both points have -3 as their x coordinate. Therefore, we look to find the distance between y coordinates, 3 and -5. Okay, we're going to add because they are on opposite sides of 0. Okay, so let's find the length. We're going to find the absolute value of 3, which is 3, and the absolute value of -5, which is 5, and we're going to add them because they are on opposite sides of 0, because this is a negative and that's a positive. Okay, so I hope you understand the difference between adding and subtracting. We subtract when there are two negatives or two positives. They lie on the same side of 0. We add when there's a negative and a positive, okay, and they're different. All right, now I am going to let you try some of these on your own. I'll do one more with you, and then I'm going to have you do some on your own. So it says here, find the length of the line segments whose endpoints are given below, and then explain how you determine that the line segments are horizontal or vertical. So we don't need to do that part, but we're going to go ahead and identify first which points are different here. So if you look, the x's are the same, so we're not going to look at those. But we do need to look at the 4 and the 9. So we're going to, since those are both positive, you should automatically be thinking subtract, okay? So absolute value of 4 is 4. Absolute value of 9 is 9. We're going to take 9 and subtract 4, which gives us a distance of 5. Why? The y coordinates are on the same side of 0, so subtract. Okay? So I hope that you understand why we're subtracting in this case and why we added in other cases. So you have to pay attention to that. I'll do one more with you, and I'm going to let you do these 3 on your own. So part number 2, these y's are the same, so we're going to look at the x's. And if you notice, they are on opposite sides of 0. This is a negative, that's a positive. So the first step is to find their absolute values. So the absolute value of 2 is 2, and the absolute value of negative 8 is 8. All right, now because they are on opposite sides of 0, we can add them, which gives us an answer of 10. Okay, the reasoning, the x coordinates are on opposite sides of 0, so add to find distance. Okay? I hope you understand that. Now, I want you to go ahead and answer C, D, and E on your own.